solving mysteries in the night. Chasing shadows, finding answers, shining bright light. No one's left behind, in the darkness all alone. With a heart like a siren, she brings the lost ones home. Silent cries in the dark no longer have to be, for justice wheels keep turning, Granny on the beat. Broken voices find their power, call out hope again. When Granny's crime busters run, no victims left in vain. Bravery in her veins, truth she won't disguise. With a fire in her eyes, she's got nothing to deny. Granny fights for justice, never backs down from the call. For the voiceless and the missing, she'll stand tall.
Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Hello, Charity, Brenda Jo. Hello, Ginger Girl. Coffee, banana bread, and your cozy chair. Awesome. I have my Diet Pepsi. Faithful Diet Pepsi. Hello, Brenda. Awesome. Made it home. All right. Well, so as promised, we are going to talk about the other case that I was telling you leads into what we're going to be talking about on our members only live on the 15th. But before we quite get into that, I am going to share something from at night. Right here. Okay. So it says, I'll probably make it a little bigger so you guys can see it. Yeah, better. Over a year into the search for Sebastian Rogers, our resolve only deepens. The rewards hit $347,000, proof of the families, Dog the Bounty Hunters, and our team's unyielding commitment. We've released new Texas Roadhouse footage to keep the momentum alive. No evidence of harm fuels our faith that Sebastian's out there. With every step, we trust answers are coming. Keep praying and keep sharing. And I want to encourage you guys to do that too. I don't, most everybody has more than one social media, but even if this one is the only one, share a post, because that's important. This was the one from yesterday. At Night is releasing 6 minutes of real-time footage from Texas Roadhouse on February 25th, 2024, where Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, 16, was last seen. This footage has been slowed down, extending the total runtime to 20 minutes to allow for a more detailed review. The footage has been carefully analyzed by professionals. We are not asking the public to investigate, but to help ensure this case remains in the public eye. What we do ask the public to do is watch and share responsibly. Keeping Sebastian's face visible is critical to bringing him home. Avoid speculation. Unverified claims and assumptions can mislead the search and flood tip lines, delaying legitimate efforts. If you were at Texas Roadhouse on February 25th, 2024, and recall something after reviewing this footage, report it immediately. Even small details may be crucial. And then report only firsthand information to Sumner County, Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, tips to tbi@tbi.tn.gov, or the FBI tip line. And then Dog Bounty Hunter and At Night tip line. And then their email address. Sebastian is still missing. If you know something, say something. If you were there that night and now remember anything, come forward. Otherwise, help us by keeping his story alive. Okay? So, guys, they couldn't have said it better here. there's a lot of speculation and garbage going on, right? And yes, you have to speculate to find answers, right? This video wasn't put out for speculation. It was just put out to keep Sebastian's face alive and out there so that if somebody sees him, they'll call it in. We need to keep his face out there, guys. There's still people in this country who don't know that Sebastian is missing and know nothing about this case. It's hard to believe it's true, but there are people that just don't know. So let's see. SRB, good evening. You had a feeling this was what I was going to cover. Gotcha. So yes. Yeah. So as we get into this next case, it's the Solomon case. Grant and Gracie Solomon. Yeah, and their parents, their father is Aaron Solomon. Yeah, we won't go there yet. But as we are going through this case tonight, please think about if you recognize anything at all, because you guys may know something that I haven't heard yet, right? So if you see something at all that correlates with Sebastian's case, please share it in chat, okay? There may be things here that once Sebastian is found could help with the criminal case, in my opinion. Maybe. But that's why I'm asking you, as we are watching a video about it, going through it. I was gonna just start at the beginning and explain it all myself, but then I actually found two really good videos that go over the core of the case. One was a little longer than the other, so I took the shorter one so that we could get through it and talk about it and go through a couple of other things that I had for it. So I'm going to, let's see, first, so this is Grant and Gracie with their mom, okay? This is their father, Aaron Solomon. And I guess that's as far as we'll go for right now. I'm just going to share where I want to go here. Make sure you guys can see it. All right.
Grant Solomon was a standout on the Grace Christian Academy baseball team in Franklin, Tennessee. But Grant Solomon barely made it to his 18th birthday. He died in 2020, and not everybody was convinced that it was an accident. As the story goes, Grant met up with his dad at a baseball training facility. But as Grant was walking to the back of his truck to get his equipment, the truck somehow began to roll, and then somehow rolled right over Grant, dragging him to his death. Grant's dad, Aaron Solomon, a former TV news anchor in Nashville, was parked right beside Grant when it happened. But Aaron says he was looking down at an email on his phone and that's all he knows. There were no other witnesses, and as far as police and Aaron Solomon are concerned, Grant died in a tragic freak accident. But here's where things go sideways. Grant's little sister does not buy Dad's story. Gracie Solomon thinks her father has something to do with her brother's death, and furthermore claims that her father did bad things to her as well. On YouTube and elsewhere, Gracie has claimed that her father sexually abused her for years and suggested that the abuse is what cost her brother his life. Take a listen.
God protecting me from my father, Aaron Solomon. My father's a monster. It makes me want to vomit. I've been minimalized, but now I've found my voice to be able to tell you that my father raped me, hurt me, and I'm not going to be a victim of this monster. He's a rapist, he's a molester, he's a liar, and he's a killer.
It is safe to say that Gracie's story has virtually lit the internet on fire. Aaron Solomon is denying everything, going so far as to sue his ex-wife, Angie, for defamation. To be clear, no charges have ever been filed against Aaron Solomon. My next guest has been following all of this closely. Her Chronicles of Olivia on TikTok boast 1.1 million followers.
I did want to just say this really quickly. No charges have ever been filed against Aaron Solomon. It's because this man, the DA for Sumner County, Ray Whitley, won't let them go through. It's because of him. Okay? So, yes, I mean, she could say that no charges ever went through, but why didn't those charges ever go through? Let's listen.
And more than 50 million likes. Here she is covering an allegation that Grant was being physically abused by his dad, Aaron, as well, and also that his school allegedly ignored Grant's pleas for help.
Breaking news, we have an update with the Grant Solomon case. Remember how right before he mysteriously died, he went to his school to ask for help because of the abuse happening in his family from his father. Well, now his school is under fire because concerned citizens of Tennessee have filed a complaint against them. It has documentation showing that the school failed to report the abuse happening to Grant and his family.
Olivia Vitale has also covered the Idaho student murders and the Gabby Petito tragedy, and she is here with me now live. Olivia, thank you so much for being a guest on the show. It's really good to have you on. Can you walk me through some of the inconsistencies that you have found in this story?
Yes, there's many inconsistencies. One of them being that during the 911 call that Aaron Solomon had, he mentioned that there were three other men with him. However, in the police report, those three other men are not mentioned. And also, he tells a story that Grant was dragged into the ditch, and there's rocks in the ditch, there's asphalt in the parking lot, and at the hospital, Grant had no scratches, no bruises, he just had a laceration to the back of his head. So that does not corroborate his story of him being dragged on concrete and asphalt into a ditch.
So the
just going to back that up just a bit here. Okay, so guys, look at this truck. Now, the road that you see behind it, that is not the road that the truck allegedly moved by itself down. The road that the parking lot was in front of this truck, in front of this grassy area. Okay. Do you see like a wire fence here, guys? Does it look to you like this truck rolled backwards and ended up the way it's sitting right here? And keep in mind, they're saying that Grant was behind the the driver's side front tire. His head was kind of beside, and underneath the vehicle, but he wasn't pinned down by the truck. Okay. I have a lot of questions about this. As deep as that ditch looks, you can see this culvert, right? Look at how big that culvert is, right, guys? I'm going to just show you another picture. Look at how deep that culvert is. And where those guys are standing, where that parking lot is, That's where that truck supposedly went backwards. Does that make sense to you? And down behind that driver's side tire on the grass, Grant was underneath there. Yes, Olivia is awesome. She is really good. Yeah, it's very sketchy. And to me, would a truck come on? And the truck didn't have any damage to it. So wouldn't the truck, first of all, that parking lot is not very big. Okay. So it's not like it had a running start to come down that ditch line and back up again. That ditch line is so steep. Look at it's as tall as that worker right there. That ditch line is so steep. That truck would have been almost, the front of it up in the air, or front tires way up there. Right? I mean, this truck, and there is proof of the tires. It was driven forward. It was not, and by somebody else. And then Grant was placed underneath it. That's my opinion. Yeah. That ditch is deep enough. Yeah, it would have stopped it. Especially because it's not like it had a running start. It wasn't that, and that really isn't that much of a slope. And it was proven that the truck was in park. It didn't malfunction. But let's continue on here. Take that off of there.
Laceration to the back of his head. So that does not corroborate his story of him being dragged on concrete and asphalt into a ditch.
So the mom, Angie, says that the abuse allegedly goes back to 2013. What are the allegations? What kind of abuse are they saying happened?
In May of 2013, that is when Gracie told her mother about what her father was doing to her in the bathroom. These are sexual abuse allegations. And Angie confronted Aaron about this. He actually admitted to this, she tells me. And the next thing she knew, she was back in court. And for the next 7 years, I mean, it was just a court battle. Sometimes Aaron would take the children away from Angie and even tell the kids that their mother was dead. And when Grant turned 18 years old, he planned to actually get full custody of his little sister to protect her. And before he could do that, he passes away. So it's just very suspicious. And many of Grant's friends even attest that he was going to do this. This really meant a lot to him. And he loved his sister very much and his mother.
It's so tragic, and it's important to let our audience know these are allegations. Aaron Solomon has not been charged with any kind of abuse that is alleged. Also, not with the death of his son, but it is so disturbing. Olivia Vitale, thank you for joining me, and I hope you'll come back again and talk with us again as you continue the investigation.
Thank you for having me on your show, Ashley.
Thank you for watching. Go to NewsNation.
Okay, so that is kind of the overall. Gracie had said, starting when she was around 5, the father would not let the mother give Gracie baths. We could say a lot of things. We could say, why? I mean, I'd be going, why do you insist on being the only one to give her a bath? Excuse me. I realize not as many people are as blunt as I may be in those types of situations, but I can assure you I would be very blunt about that, questioning him. Now, we don't know if she did or not. Eventually she did once Gracie told her, but I would have been questioning it long before then, right? That would have been me. So, yeah, and that abuse only continued to get worse through the years. He was diagnosed as narcissistic, because they had gone to counseling together. Yeah, that is Olivia. But the whole problem was with this, and she didn't really go into this, guys, but here's what I'm going to tell you. This happened in Gallatin. Gallatin Police Department were the ones that investigated this. Okay. So there is one correlation, right? Gallatin is only a few miles away from Hendersonville. Gallatin is where the Dirty Socks live. They were going to Grace Chapel Christian Church and school. Both children had told not only their teachers but the pastors about the abuse. Nothing was done. Now, anybody in the United States knows that a pastor in the United States, if any child comes to them about sexual abuse, they have to report that to the police office, or else they can face charges. They did not. And they're saying that they're saying that no, they came to talk about their spiritual condition. The next thing that I wanted to show you was this one. This is Freedom for Gracie website. They are wanting to get an investigation opened up into the death of her son. Olivia kind of touched on it, but Grant only had a laceration to the back of his skull. Okay. He had some bruising, a bruise here, and like on his chest. But there were no, like, if he was dragged on his back, there was no marks at all, as if he was drug underneath that truck. Nothing. Oh, he also had a bruise on his cheek. To me, that looks like somebody was hitting him, and maybe hit him with a rock on the back of his head. I mean, I don't know. Let's look at how big those rocks are. Okay. The next thing I want to is to let me get that off of there. Okay. This is still on the website. The phrase smoking gun originally came from the idea that if you found a recently fired gun on the suspect, it was unshakable proof that the person had committed the crime. Angie had been told by the Gallatin police that since they didn't have the smoking gun and that they couldn't make Aaron give them the truck, there was nothing they could do. Okay. So see, there was a little bit of damage. If you look right up here on the truck on the back end, there was a little bit of damage there. You know, whether that was there prior, we don't know. But Aaron refused a forensic exam of the truck that he claims malfunctioned and killed his son. He picked it up 48 hours later and he drove it away from the tow yard. Drove it away, guys. Seemingly unconcerned that it was going to malfunction. He drove it for months afterwards. Although Gracie begged for the truck, he would not give it to her or Angie. Months later, Aaron mysteriously had the truck totaled and set to be sold at auction. Unbeknownst to him, Angie was able to get the smoking gun just in time. So this is Grant's truck after the tragic accident as it sat in Aaron's driveway. A very close eye was kept on the truck. One day, it was no longer in his driveway. February 2021, a friend at cars.com ran the VIN number and discovered the truck was at a scrapyard in Nashville. Angie was able to secure a broker and got it off the auction block just in time. She took a picture and said she's got the truck. How did the truck end up in the scrapyard? Public records revealed that Aaron took the vehicle to Lincoln Ford, who reported damage as minor, yet somehow he managed to convince an insurance adjuster to total the vehicle. Now, this is possibly the biggest part so far that shows that Aaron had to have some pull in that area. But the other items that we haven't talked about are all of the custody disputes. He tried to have Angie committed. The medical examiners at the place that he took her to said, nope, she is totally fine. They let her stay there the night just to get calmed down. Her parents even went with Aaron to try to get her put into this institution. But the medical doctor said, no, there's nothing wrong with her. There's absolutely nothing wrong with her. The only thing that we can see is that she is a victim of DV and possibly parental abuse as well from her childhood. So, this talks about how the truck was totaled. Okay. But then what happened is once Angie got a hold of this truck, she had a forensic exam done on it. And the forensic exam conclusively states that the accident could not have occurred as Aaron described. And the Gallatin Police Department still refused to open an investigation. This was Aaron's statement. Now, on the 911 call, guys, he is standing at the sidewalk. I'll just show you that picture. Okay, so he's standing up here. Okay. He wouldn't go down by his son. He wouldn't go down there during the 911 call. He said that they parked side by side. He said he was still in his car, but he did notice his son get out to get his baseball gear out of the back of his truck. Well, that's pretty much a lie from everything we've heard because Grant kept his stuff in the back seat of that truck, not in the back pick, the bed. He didn't keep it back there. I looked down to check a work email, and the next thing I know, I see the truck rolling backwards into the ditch. I got out of my car to try to find my son and saw that he was trapped underneath the truck and immediately called 911. Okay. He said Grant's head was barely visible behind the front driver's side tire, and his body was positioned diagonally toward the back tire passenger side. He advised that when he came out of the WPI building, he saw Aaron Solomon on his cell phone pacing up and down. He could hear Aaron telling Grant that help was on the way. He may have been conscious, but not for long. He was pronounced gone at the hospital. So those were the reports. Here is a better portion of what Grant's injuries were. A bruise on the upper thigh, a bruise on his hip, a blow to the jaw, and a single fatal blow to the back of Grant's head. No other injuries. There were no scratches on the back of him. Nothing. Okay? Nothing. It's to say that if the truck really did knock him down, yeah. Wouldn't he have? Look at that, guys. He would have marks all over his back. This one shows that there are no injuries consistent with this scenario, because this is what they said. Well, what Aaron said, where Grant was standing. You have Grant's height, 6'3". And if he was mowed down by his truck, it just doesn't total. It doesn't make sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. Let's see. These are Grant's tennis shoes that he wore. Look they were all clean. There's no scuff marks even on those or his socks. Nothing at all. Then I want to go to the front here because they had some information here. Oh, yeah. Right here. The left rear tire track shows that the vehicle actually drove forward. And this piece was back here behind that tire. So that tire track, the left rear tire track, driver's side, left rear, the vehicle drove forward. It says Grant Solomon was cruelly taken from the world in an unexplained incident with his father as the only witness. Even though the evidence does not match the father's story, Grant's death has never been properly investigated. They have also never investigated Gracie's claims of abuse. You can see what she says here. He's an R, he's an abuser, and I'm not going to be a victim of this monster. I encourage you guys to go and watch her. It's all the information is on this website. There's a video of her talking about what he did to her. The courts would not listen to them or her mother. Nothing. They would not listen at all. So that's where we get into why weren't the courts listening. Okay, so let me. Oh, I love you too, K9. Member for 3 months. It's awesome. Okay, so yeah, that ditch is deep enough. Don't understand how it had the momentum to get that far. No, yeah. But yet, if it was driven forward, it makes sense that it would stop right there, right? Yes, he was a terribly abusive man. Unfortunately, there's a lot of bad pastors, and I'm not downing any church. It's just the truth, sadly. That's true. That's really true. But I'm finding there's a lot of corruption in the South there. It's scary. The black box of the truck said that someone was in the driver's seat of the truck. So couldn't have been Grant, right? Yep, and the wounds sound like more from a fight. A blow to the cheek. That was a direct hit. Punch to the face. Yeah, no cams. At least nobody has said anything. Yes, there's definitely a lot of shady. And here's the thing. There is sounds like Micah Miller, yeah. Oh, Melissa, no worries. But all of this was ignored. Gracie was SA'd by her father from the age of 5. Grant, I think, was more physically abused and emotionally, mentally, that kind of thing. But he also, I mean, these kids were told their mother was dead because he did have them for years. They, you know, he has friends in high places, guys. Aaron Solomon was a morning news reporter for the same, get this, the same news station that Holly Thompson works at. Okay. Here's another little tidbit. We've been told that Holly Thompson is a friend of the family. Holly Thompson's husband is best friends with Aaron Solomon. I'm just kind of letting it being silent to let it sink in for a second here, guys. And we'll get into more of it on the 15th, but there are people in high places that go to that same church, but they're linked to not just Gallatin. They're linked to Hendersonville. They're linked to Franklin, to Nashville, to Millersville. Guys, it's unbelievable. And yet, Aaron Solomon was working for an organization, or he was on the board for an organization for kids who had been SA'd. It made me want to vomit, honestly, when I learned that. Because he caused it. That's what I think. He wanted him gone because he knew that if he testified as an adult, if Grant testified as an adult, that could be a problem for him. Okay. Can I show the website again? Yes, I can. Let me make sure I have the picture off or you won't see it. Okay. So this is the website. That's actually here is a website. If we go home, it looks like this on the front, okay? People can donate to the GoFundMe to help Angie and Gracie pursue justice. They're also asking for petitions, people to sign the petition for her to be able to open an investigation into the death of her son. Remember that district attorney said no. So that's why they got the petition. They also, the new Tennessee Attorney General, somebody has gotten to that person as well. But you can look all the way down and it'll talk about Angie, it'll talk about Gracie, and it talks about Grant, everything they have been through. It shows the picture of the vehicle, the tire, how this couldn't have been what happened. Lets you know what you can do to help if you want to. I'm not saying you guys should. So this is the vehicle. This is one of the rocks. You know, here's my thing. A close-up of the bloody rock beside the driver's side front door. Grant only had 2 injuries, a blow to the jaw and a fatal blow to the back of the head. Was that rock ever taken in to be fingerprinted? I doubt it. While crashing backward into the ditch would have caused major damage, minor damage to the bumper is easily explained by experts. The custom bumper on Toyota Tacoma, the bumper isn't up to the challenges of daily life. So that could have been anything, right? I guess if you look at the picture here, there is a little bit of a slant, but guys, it would not do that. It's too deep. To me, it's just crazy. But yeah, it is, I do have the website in the description, but I'll go ahead and put it in there for you guys as well. Oh, Ginger's already a step ahead of me. Awesome. Yeah. Right. And this year video that Holly did. Oh, she was so sweet and gooey and with them. It was kind of sickening. Watching that. What year was this? Grant was 18. He had just turned 18. Hello, Saturn. Hello, Cheryl. Like a month before the accident. Isn't it funny how here's another bad actor in an accident that won't be investigated? Yeah. Gooey. It was kind of sickening sweet, right? Sickening sweet. And then when you start thinking about the fact that her husband is friends with Aaron Solomon had to resign from that station. Do you guys know why? Because he had inappropriate pictures on his computer and his phone. Isn't that something? Yeah. Yeah. Makes you sick. Yeah. That, and then so now he is an adjuster for Merrill Lynch, right? People have called his work. They've done all kinds of things. But, he's got friends in high places, guys. He's got friends in high places. The media is not going to go after him because Holly controls that. Her husband is best friends with Aaron. Okay. Her family and the DA's family and Aaron all go to church together. And there's some others that go with them. There's some others that are known for SA trafficking. Yeah. But we'll get into all that on the 15th. I know. What is going on in that area? I have been to Gallatin. It was kind of the county seat. So when I lived in Portland, I had to go to Gallatin to the DMV to get my driver's license for Tennessee, my car registration. You had to have your car tested for ozone garbage. They had to pay extra to go do that, blah, 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 right? So I have been to Gallatin. I was at the hospital in Gallatin when I had a high blood pressure episode. I have been to Gallatin, guys. Having been there, just doing your normal routine stuff, you wouldn't think that this kind of stuff is going on, but it was already going on. So somebody asked the question of what year did this happen? Let me see. 2020. July 20th, 2020. Grant was tragically red rummed, because I believe it was a red rum. But Angie and Gracie and Grant have been fighting Aaron Solomon's abuse since 2013. There's even a timeline on here. So it says Angie and Aaron. Oh. Okay, yeah, you can see it. So it says that Angie and Aaron married in 2001 after a 6-week relationship, and she had gotten pregnant with Grant, who was born in 2002. Even at this time, Aaron was abusive, essay violating Angie and berating her constantly. In 2006, Gracie is born. And guys, I know what you're going to say. Why did she stay with him? For any of you that have been through DV, you know that It's hard to leave, right? And she did not have the law on her side at all. Boy, they were determined. It was horrible. And I sincerely hope so. I sincerely hope so. Yeah, he had just turned 18, like a month prior to the accident. Yes, he did things to keep her close. And he said, if you ever tell anyone about anything, I will make sure you never see your kids again. He threatened the kids with her, and guys, he followed up on that. He did. In 2008, she discovered his infidelity, various affairs, grooming underage girls, as well as hiring prostitutes. In that same year, she begins seeing Dr. Fortrell. She feels she needs help due to the pain and stress she's experiencing within her marriage. She becomes Dr. Fortrell's patient, but Aaron is opposed to the idea of her speaking alone to anyone. According to Angie, during that time, he would sometimes stay with her at the hairdresser's in order to hear what she was talking about. Even at that time, he demanded secrecy. Aaron ends up joining the therapy sessions in which Dr. Fortrell diagnoses Angie with PTSD and Aaron with SA addiction. Yeah, he watched everything she did. He did. Even as much as going to the hair salon with her. Yep, crooked nonsense. January 2011, Channel 4. While he maintained that he left voluntarily, according to Angie and other sources, Aaron is forced to resign from WSMV Channel 4, where Holly is stationed, for having inappropriate materials on his work computer and his phone. The 18th of June, 2012, Aaron's Aunt Ruth dies and leaves him a multi-million-dollar trust. This trust would start dispersing funds about 1 year later. With his newfound financial freedom on the horizon, his behavior starts getting more and more erratic and unpredictable. Okay. In September of 2012, Angie starts seeing Dr. Michael Reed, a psychiatrist, to help her cope with her abusive husband and figure out how to get the kids and herself out of her situation safely. See, she was trying, guys. She was definitely trying. In early 2013, Nashville PD are called to the Solomon residence for a domestic disturbance. The responding EMT gave the following testimony. Let's see if I can read it. Mr. Aaron Myers was interviewed and he provided the following information. Mr. Myers advised that he is currently living in, it was Franklin, Tennessee. Prior to that, he lived in Nashville, Tennessee, where he was employed by the Nashville Fire Department as an EMT. He stated that his job was to roll out with the NFD as a firefighter and with a dual role as an EMT. Mr. Myers stated that he recently has seen some YouTube posts about the Solomon case in Middle Tennessee. He advised that these posts jogged his memory about an incident which occurred in 2013 at a residence in Green Hills. Mr. Myers advised that he remembers one evening that Station 20 NFD responded to a 911 call for a domestic disturbance on Abbott Martin Road in Nashville at the residence of Aaron Solomon. He was designated as Medic 20 and he responded with the fire department. He stated that upon arrival, they noticed that the Nashville Police Department was on scene and had gone inside. Mr. Myers advised that he believes that an EMS with NFD went inside the house, but he does not know what treatment, if any, was administered. Mr. Myers stated that he never went into the house, and he and his fellow firefighters remained in the front yard area. He stated that he and his colleagues had seen Aaron Solomon around this neighborhood before. Aaron had at times engaged them in conversation. He stated that Aaron always seems cordial when they encountered him. Mr. Myers advised that they were not at this call very long. He stated that while MPD was inside with the occupants, Aaron Solomon came outside and was again cordial. He stated that Aaron told him that his wife is mentally ill and had caused the trouble. However, when Angie Solomon and the two children exited the house, Aaron's demeanor quickly changed. He became red in the face, and his facial expression showed that he was very angry and agitated, and it was obvious that Aaron was filled with rage. He stated that he recalled that Aaron made a few steps toward Angie but was stopped by Nashville Police Department. Mr. Myers advised that Station 20 left the scene on the fire truck. He stated that he and his colleagues all remarked that we know who the instigator in this incident is, and they were referring to Aaron. Mr. Myers advised that he does not know what occurred after he left the scene. He stated that to the best of his knowledge, no one was transported by ambulance to a hospital. Even with this kind of evidence, guys, she still was not able to move forward with anything. I couldn't have said it better myself, Saturn. Gotcha. Yeah, and trying to think what made me, I don't know, I feel like I've just been consuming this case for a while. Yeah. The DA says there isn't enough for charges and that people don't know the facts. This Mr. Myers, who wrote this, he's an EMT. He had nothing to gain by writing this. Nothing. He didn't know them. People don't know the facts. Here's a fact. That letter is a fact. K9, he's the same long-term DA. Ray Whitley. This is Sumner County. It's the same DA. This is what this guy is capable of. And he needs to be out of office. And then it says, 5-year-old Gracie tells her mother that her father puts things up inside her during bath time and that it hurts. Angie's horrified. She confronts Aaron, who admits to the abuse, but tells Angie that he will take the kids away from her if she ever tells anyone. This picture, she would beg not to be bathed, that I miss the signs. This picture right here makes me want to throw up. It just does. With the help of Dr. Reed, Angie begins to plan how to get herself and the kids away from Aaron safely. She takes notes about this on her phone. I told you what would happen if you ever talked to anyone about what's going on in the house, Aaron to Angie. 2013, March, Angie has been writing notes in her phone about how to get her and the kids away from Aaron safely, as well as notes from her therapy sessions with Dr. Reed. One day, she rushes out of the house to pick up the kids from school and forgets her phone at home. When she gets back, Aaron has gained access to her notes. He drops her phone in the toilet. So, it goes on and on, guys. You can see all of the proof that she has. You know, I mean, it's not just her word. There is all kinds of thing. Forgery. I'm telling you what, it there is so much to this case, guys, and when you look at who all is involved, it is frightening. And there's too many of the same players in this story as there are in Sebastian's story. Yes, I am too. After I saw this case and saw who the players were, and Ginger and I kind of helped each other, we were deep diving into this thing, and we're still doing that. It has me a little bit frightened for any kind of criminal case. Right now, that DA said he won't bring any charges unless there's blood, clothes, or body. Yet he has how many CPS reports that show abuse? I'm not saying to prosecute them for red rum or kidnapping because there's, to our knowledge, no proof of that yet. But there's proof of abuse, right? I'm telling you, this DA and a few other people in this area, the FBI needs to get involved. Yes. He just said that in his last video, didn't he, Ginger? Good buddies with the DA. Yep. You know, and here's the thing, SRB. What district attorney shows up at the command center the first week that a child is missing? If there was no proof of anything, that's what they said. Why was the DA at the command center? For what reason? That's right. And, you know, we've got Sebastian, who all of us really care about here, right? But Grant and Gracie deserve justice. You know, Grant died never getting justice for his little sister. And now she's had to speak out, 14 years old. A child should never have to do that. A child should never have to seek help from the public on a platform for an abusive parent. That should never happen. Shame on the law enforcement on up in that area, because a child should never have to go through that. Yeah. It makes no sense on why he was there. Yep. Keeping his thumb and his pulse on where this was going to go? Because is he buddies with certain people that we know in Sebastian's case? Is this what Dog and At Night, Nick and Hong have said, where there's powerful people in powerful places? Is this how the big hits have come about? Is this why there was threats on searchers? Why did Sumner County delay calling in the card team from the FBI, refuse to sign papers for the U.S. Marshals? Yes. And that is what is concerning me, right? I mean, I also know of another case, I think I've mentioned this before, in Millersville, which I'm just going to show you guys. Go to Google Maps. For those of you who aren't in that area, share this tab. Okay, Jekyll Island. Okay, so here is Hendersonville, that's where Sebastian ran away from. Here is Gallatin. Okay. Portland, where I lived, is right up here. It's White House. I'm trying to find Millersville. It's in this area somewhere too. And then Franklin, where they lived, was right down here, south of Nashville. But Millersville is in Sumner County up here somewhere. It's close to White House. But anyway, they this whole area, guys, is bad. But you have players in Nashville and Franklin. Franklin is actually a rich area of Franklin, Brentwood. A lot of country stars live there. Music stars. But you've got that whole area. And in Millersville, the Millersville Police Department arrested the mayor of Millersville, placed charges on him, and our friendly DA that we're talking about here said, I wasn't aware you guys did this, and was talking, I may have to have a special prosecutor come in to prosecute this case. But then conveniently, the charges were all dropped. That mayor now works in Hendersonville for the city. Planning Commission. What charges were against him? Fraudulent building permits in Millersville. So it's scary. And it's like Ginger said, why didn't they call? Yep. I think we're starting to realize why. And it's horrible. Yeah, it gets deeper and deeper, and we'll go into all the ties and everything on the 15th. But I wanted everybody to know the background of this story, because this story is quite a bit. So then on the 15th we can do our deep part. All the players, may even make like a little chart. All the players and how they're connected, right? That's kind of a good idea, actually. Maybe have Sebastian Rogers be green, and I don't know what Grant or Gracie's favorite color is, but we'll figure it out, and we can draw lines connecting these players. Because I think there's not, I know, the DA being the big one. Yeah, I was just thinking of that too. I need that visual. It's one thing knowing it all in my head, but now I want to actually have that chart with lines going to each player. Yeah. I'm going to need to see it. But yeah, so you know, I worry about Gracie. She has not been allowed to live with her mother. Okay. So that's sad, but at least she's not with her father. And she had set some boundaries with the help of a psychiatrist, but since Grant's death, her dad is pushing those boundaries. And that's why she went public. So, yeah, I feel bad for her. 14-year-old child should never have to. I mean, her mother has fought and fought and fought only to lose another child, and, not even have Gracie in her own home to be able to raise, right? It just, you talk about parental alienation. Aaron Solomon tried to do that, but those kids knew better. Kids know right from wrong. And when someone's abusing them, they're going to figure it out eventually, and they're going to know the truth. And that's what happened with Gracie and Grant. Sad thing is that Grant lost his life because of it. And I sincerely hope Aaron needs to be in prison, as far as I'm concerned. That man shouldn't be walking the earth after everything that he's done and gotten away with. Not one charge brought against him. Heck, he should have been charged when he was let go from WSMB. The federal authorities, yeah. That's basically all they can do. They have to go above the DA, so it has to go to federal. They've got the proof. Just a matter of getting people to listen to it, right? You had the attorney general. Somebody got to them, and before Congress, they gave an expose of, no, there's not enough evidence there to warrant reopening the investigation, which I don't know what that person is seeing, because what I'm seeing is more than enough evidence. Yes, Gracie needs our support, just like Sebastian needs us to keep him in the media feeds. I agree. Yep. I think he has not someone, he's got several someones in high places that are doing him some big favors. Yeah. I think, yeah, I also think that there's a level of trafficking that might be going on in those high places. Just my thought, my opinions, guys, but that's what I think. Because why won't they do something? This has been an uproar in their community, and they did nothing. I mean, yeah. You've got the church being hush hush, the Christian school being hush hush. Because even when Gracie got a restraining order against her dad, he was allowed to come and get her. And she stood there and said, I don't want to go with him. I have his restraining order against him. And he said, no. And then the Christian school let him take her. I mean, it has just blown my mind how they are siding with this man. Yeah. Well, somebody told me a while back that it's because Nashville is a hub for a lot of the main highways. And I guess if we look at it, you got 65, 24, 40, right? '65 goes all the way down through 40, 24. Yeah. Some big highways that run through there from every angle, right? North and south, east and west. I guess I can see it, right? Yeah. And in Sebastian's case, why are people being threatened and afraid to talk to Ellie? Yeah. So it's all starting to make sense now. And of course, guys, this does not help us find Sebastian, okay? But it will help with the criminal case once Sebastian is found, right? Yeah. And that's the thing. Tennessee is so beautiful. I love Tennessee. I love the weather. I loved living there. I really did. The rolling hills. There's always something to do. I honestly loved it. But and I've often thought, oh, I, I could go back if I really wanted to, right? But I wouldn't now. There's no way that I would go back to that place. I wouldn't feel safe there anymore at all. That's all right, SRB. I didn't even pick up on that. I'm sure that I have said a few words today talking about all the stuff that maybe Facebook is not going to like. I don't know. But it is kind of funny when I don't put on the thumbnail that we're talking about Sebastian, our numbers go down. But I'm okay with that because of what we're talking about today. I feel the people that really care and want to know are in here. And I don't want to be targeted because I am talking about it. On the flip side of the coin, I think it needs to be discussed, right? Because it's horrendous. Gracie needs our help just like Sebastian does. And if there is some corruption, which I'm pretty doggone sure about at this point, let's say 90% sure, um, it needs to be seen. A light needs to be, illuminated on it because it's wrong. And if it's hurting innocent children, if this is where the SA trafficking is coming from, um, if it's all because of the corrupt officials in that area, well, then somebody needs to take them down. Yeah, I worry about the children too. Um, I get what you're saying. I'm not one that normally will talk, but if I get angry, I lived with a trucker, so I've heard it all. But not that I use it, but I've heard it, and sometimes it can just slip at us when we're internally angry about something like this. This just breaks my heart for all the children in that area, right? All of them. Yeah. They need to bring in the National Guard, the FBI, the Secret Service, and they need to do a clean sweep. They really do. And we don't know, they may already be investigating all of this, guys. It takes time to build a case, especially when you're going after officials in high places, right? It does take time. We don't know that they're not. Well, the little guy, though, is not going to get anywhere. Look at Angie. She's been trying, right? Look at Seth. He's been trying. It's going to have to be, I think, and maybe that is what at night Nick talked about when they said that Trump was going to get involved. Maybe they have already figured this out, guys. Right? Have they already pinpointed these issues and they went to President Trump with them? That makes sense to me now. Yeah. Yeah, once I get everything all together, Melissa, I will share what I found with them. I won't share it with law enforcement, though. you know, I'm just not. I just won't. Just won't. I don't need them knocking on my door. Yeah, me too, Ginger. I think it always bothered us, but with what we all know now, it is more disturbing, right? And there are those that think he's so handsome. I'm sorry. He's not eye candy and he's not like Mr. Yummy. Oh gosh. Their personality can take away any kind of good looking part of them. It can make them look like trash, honestly. But yeah. So um stay in prayer for Gracie and Grant. If you guys are so inclined to go and sign the petition, feel free to do so. As far as the GoFundMe, what she is trying to do is get up enough money to have Grant's body exhumed because Aaron denied an autopsy. He signed papers at the hospital before Angie even got there. So it took her an hour to get to the hospital. And so she needs to have an autopsy done, and she has to have his body exhumed for that. So that's what she's doing for that. Yeah, all three of them, right? And guys, you know what scares me more than anything? We've got these three kids right here, right now, right? Please, God, don't let us find more in our search to uncover this garbage. I don't want any more children, but I'm afraid, guys. I'm just afraid. Where was Summer Wells from? I haven't dug into that case, so other than to know she's missing. It's not that they have the same laws as the rest of us, but the the culture is very much that way. Um, Kingsport or Rogersville. Let me see. Hmm. I thought I saw. If you guys see it, let me know. I could be going right past it and not even realize it. I thought it was more to the east, but I could be wrong. I don't think it's south. All right. When all else fails. Oh, it is up at the top of the Kingsport is right there. Huh. Oh, gotcha. It is way east, huh? So that's in the Rocky Mountain or in the Smoky Mountains. It's way over there. It's not to say that it couldn't. I mean, oh, happy birthday, Ginger. I forgot all about that. You did tell me that. I'm sorry, sweetie. Let's sing you happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, Ginger. Aw, here, I've been chatting with you all day. I'm glad you told me. That's right. Oh gosh. If he found information about Summer in their search for Sebastian, oh, that is scary. Yeah, guys, everybody wish Ginger a happy birthday. Interesting. You know, there could be links, and it could all be tied in with some kind of trafficking, right? I don't know. If he found something about Summer when he was looking for Sebastian, what would he have found? Right? What would he have found? Is it this angle that I'm talking about? The people in high places? Oh, guys. Yeah. Trafficking is very plausible. Very plausible. So sad. So sad. So today's grannyism is about corruption. A people that elect corrupt politicians, imposters, thieves, and traitors are not victims, but accomplices. And that is where it starts, guys. Who are voting people like Ray Whitley into office for 40 years? Who will not reopen Grant Solomon's case? Who will not press charges against Aaron Solomon for SA abuse? Who will not charge Chris and Katie for abuse? Right? That's where it begins. And sometimes it feels like the little guy doesn't have a say in who's elected, right? Because they get all their friends and their cronies and everybody else, and they just get pushed right on into office. But those people, they're all accomplices. You are so welcome. You deserve to have the spotlight on you. um, but they are, and that's where it does begin. Corruption begins. And, I do not like or even want to talk about politics, guys, but when it comes to corruption and the corruption involves our children, that's a whole different matter, isn't it? That's a whole different matter. Just when I saw that quote today, I was like, oh my gosh, how true is this? How true is this? Yeah. I mean, is it the whole state? Guys, is it the whole doggone state? Seriously, I've known for a long time that Memphis is a bad place, right? I've known that for a really long time. It's a bad place to live, let alone anything else. But Nashville is always touted as the hub, music city, right? There's a lot of talented musicians that live in that area. There's some that live in Hendersonville. I mean, heck, Johnny Cash lived in Hendersonville. Yeah, that's very true, isn't it? And I have to say that for me, I'm ashamed to say that I've only basically worried about the presidential elections and haven't worried about the ones in between. And those are the ones that we need to be worried about. There's it's a water. Yeah. We work hard to protect our children and then we get higher ups that are corrupt. It's frightening. It is frightening. You know, what has happened, right? What has happened? And yet, I mean, if you think about it, when they say that Nashville is the hub of that because of all the highways going through there, the freeways, that is really true. It's, in the central part of the states. Runs both ways, north, south, east, and west. My parents liked Johnny Cash too, although they loved Elvis more. I've been to Memphis twice now, only to go to Graceland. Once with my daughter. We were coming to Tennessee to visit her college. Ironically, her college was on the other end of the state, but I wanted to see Graceland, so we went there first, and then we drove. Her college was over by Cleveland, on the eastern part of the state. But yeah, and I didn't like what I saw in Memphis. I mean, it was not a pretty sight. So don't move to Tennessee, guys. Your brother used to impersonate Elvis. That's funny. That's funny. Good night, Brenda Joe. But yeah, that's all I had for tonight. I really basically wanted to go over Grant and Gracie's story, kind of tell you about them, a little bit of how they correlate to the Sebastian Rogers case. And on the 15th, we'll get into the deeper end of things and the players, and I will have a chart. I'm probably going to start making that chart tomorrow. It'll help me to keep things straighter in my head, I think. So, yeah. Yep. We're not going to seek circumstantial cases. At least not as long as Ray Whitley is DA. But thank you for coming, everybody. I appreciate you so much. Ginger, you have a happy, happy birthday. The rest of your evening. You're very welcome, SRB. I'm glad you thought it was informative. I've got a lot more information to share with you guys on the 15th. So, but let's just keep Grant and Gracie, Angie, Solomon in our prayers, along with Sebastian, right? And we'll see you on the next one. Be sure to hit the like button on your way out, guys. I appreciate you. Thank you for watching another episode of Granny's Crime Busters. We really appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget to subscribe and like and even share the content. You can follow us on any of our other social media platforms at YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We really appreciate you guys, and you can also email us at granniescrimebusters@gmail.com. Thank you so much, and we will see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.